Whoa, back for more. Lens is out of place. Yeah, has implications. So I think we'll get to some lensing in this one. So back to comments and such. Guess we'll finish up numbly numb real quickly. They think the length change only relativity. Imagine drawing a grid on a sheet of latex rubber, then stretching it out with each square capable of changing relatively in size and shape compared to the others while maintaining its position in the overall grid. So basically just take a grid, put it on a stretchable space, then stretch it, and then you can make these lines infinite. You can just change the grid lines into infinite lines, and those infinite lines are going to reflect something that's going to be faster than the speed of light, and that's nonsense. So anyway, numbly numb again. Dark matter doesn't refer to anything other than a placeholder, the glorified crotch that is used to prop up a flimsy and fragile theory, while physicists go about doing everything they can to confirm it, with a willful confirmation bias which characterizes the very opposite of the scientific method. Yeah, I mean, that's, you can just feel you can just feel the amount of energy it's like they're rooting for it, and like I said, whether that's out of defensiveness because they've committed to something and now they want to somehow validate it, or like I said, I think a lot of this physics is, these people are just generally speaking kind of religious, and they want physics to be more interesting than it is. They want it to be more life-affirming than it is. They want it to do a lot of things that it's not there to do, and their description of, and again, a lot of that just might be because it makes them feel inferior. I have special knowledge. I'm the medicine man of the tribe. I have all the little secret gimmicks, and I can fool all the peasants into thinking I'm special. And I just think there's a lot of, let's keep this as far away from public consumption as possible, and keep all the magical components that we, the elitists, know are special. I mean, there's chalices all over the place here. This is all full of a bunch of hunting for holy grails. Anyway, thanks for responding. Oh, that's the shithead. Yeah, well, you're probably not going to be too grateful I include the last response. Well, he points out thumbs up for entertainment value. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, some of these videos, I think the ones that like Physics Girl and stuff, I think there's a lot of good humor in those videos. So, I chortled a little at my own jokes, but yeah, not bad. As physics videos go, I think some entertainment value. Logic rolls the dice. Hard to tell who he is or whether he's somebody else sometimes. Other accounts and whatnot. You just don't know who's playing who, what, where. If you had just one single video briefly stating your official agenda in a summary showing your physics, then I would watch it. Well, again, the website does. There's a Vlogger-Dome video, an hour-long video. That explains a lot of this stuff. Again, I can look back and say, okay, I want to do something better. It has a little bit of animation. It has some stuff in it, so I mean, it's got some stuff. But I think that and there's another one or two videos that are like that. But yeah, I'll plan on doing another one where I'm just going to make a video and try to go from beginning to end without too much structure anyway, and just see where it goes. But it's just trying to find metaphors that are workable. And a lot of these, like I said, the School of Fish thing is really easy to understand. There's a big picture of School of Fish on the front page of the website. I mean, the idea that a bunch of energy is caught up in the School of Fish, and it's still there, it's just hidden. And you only see it when all the fish decide to move in one direction. Anyway, yeah, so I don't know. I don't think you're sort of insulting your own intelligence to tell me that you can't glean the theme here out of all these videos, or out of some portion of them. And really, if you're not really willing to watch the videos, if you don't find it an interesting enough subject, then fuck off. I mean, what can I tell you? I'm making a rather bold statement that physics has fundamentally got it wrong on 5 or 6, really important subjects where they just they had a 50-50 chance and they got it wrong. And, I've undone them not in just one way, but in like at least 3 ways. Plus, I've got the unification thing. I mean, it's a rather profound, bold, incredibly bold statement. If you think it has any merit at all, I just don't understand why you're not curious enough to watch the fucking videos. But what can I say? Don't fuck off. I don't know what to say. I mean, I can only do the way I'm doing it, and the fact is, yeah, I'm still writing it, and I'm still composing it, but I'm just saying, to imply that there's somehow, like I said, the first video on the web page, it's there. Watch it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, but you reject relativity. Well, duh. Yes, I reject. Yeah, space, time, and other things. No? Question mark? I mean, I don't know how you can miss that. Yeah, I'm saying gravity's a real force. I'm saying that real force creates magnetism through polarization. I basically said these things quite overtly and directly. I said, yes, velocity has nothing to do with bending fucking space or acceleration. It has to do with slowing down the metabolism of the matter. I mean, I've made direct enough fucking statements. Why imply I somehow haven't? This is just, sorry, but this is stupid. And you account for time dilation by saying that everything is already traveling at the speed of light at any moment in space. And any moment in space occurs from deviation from the standard. Yes, I don't even know what that means, but no. Any movement in space occurs from deviation from the standard. I don't know what the standard would be, but your velocity is absolute. You have absolute velocity. Your matter can only move so much. And if it moves a lot, then you're not matter anymore, you're energy. So there's a certain percentage of your matter that can be doing something else, okay? And the matter still works. Some of the little pieces, say you have a little workman, right? Well, 10% of them can do shit. They can smoke cigarettes and jerk off and do all kinds of crap, and the work will still get done. But when a certain percentage start jerking off or doing something else, then you're not going to get any work done. And it's that kind of argument. You have a directionality. It's in a kind of balance. Right now, my balance is a little bit changed in the fact that I'm moving on the surface of the Earth is rotating around the Sun is moving through the galaxy is moving through the universe. So there's a bunch of combined motions there. But I have a net overall end product motion over a period of time. So per second or per minute, I move at a certain vector. Now that's made of a bunch of herky-jerky. I don't do it as a straight line, but over time that's where I end up. Point A, point B, and there's a consistency to it over time. I mean, obviously the galaxy is, doing a slow circle thing by comparison. I mean, it's moving fast, but it's slow because it's such a huge amount of distance. So 100 years from now, if I was still here, my trend line would be changed a little, and it would go in that line for a while, that vector. So it does, the vectors does change based on where I am in space at any particular time. But I'm just saying, there's a net amount of me that's moving me in a direction and not necessarily doing what I'm doing. And when that speed gets sufficient enough where I'm moving in that direction a lot, then my matter breaks down. Yeah, I think that's it. Alright, so they're trying the speed of, yes, the little bits are all moving the speed of light. The stuff inside the matter is moving the speed of light. Everything's moving the speed of light, and it's just capturing it in circles. Circles are the whole key to this thing. There's a difference between a quantum moving in a straight line and a quantum moving in a circle, and that difference is matter. Metabolism of photons or something, I can't remember. Well, fuck you. You'd be best putting this in an official declaration document. Well, again, you're saying that nobody, I mean, first, I don't think that many people like reading. Second, that's not what I do on YouTube, of course. And I'm attempting to write it, but I'm just saying I don't even think writing it is going to make it more understandable, frankly. I think it has to be explained, and I think explanations are better than written explanations. I mean, I think. for all of us to see, instead of having to shift through video after video of an ongoing dialectic. Well, that's again, that's your issue, fella. I'm sorry. I haven't written this book yet, so and I haven't had much time to put all the little pieces together and figure out exactly how to order the explanations and do all of that crap. So I don't know what to say. Fuck off for 2 years then. If you can't wait for it to be completed and refined and perfected, then don't. That's your choice. But raggy and complainy isn't doing any good. Fair enough if you are piecing it together as it goes on. Well, I mean, that's just quite obvious. The webpage indicates that, so my videos have indicated that yes, I'm working on it, but it's a little bit complex. And you want to try to make statements that are accurate rather than ones you have to fix later on. And that's sort of what I'm finding out, is that some of my statements aren't perfect yet, and until I can make them more perfect, I really don't want to put them in writing. That's up to you. Well, you're saying it's not up to me. You're bitching that somehow this isn't good enough. I have to do it differently. Well, fuck you. But I hope that one day you will publish your completed theory in one video. Well, I don't know if it can fit in one video, because you do have to explain it piece by piece why the old story isn't true before you can get to the new story. I myself am also waiting to do that in some areas of philosophy. Waiting. Whatever. Just not a helpful comment. I mean, someone's insulting my intelligence to tell me, oh, aren't you aware that if you wrote a perfect book and made a perfect video, that this would all be so much better? You know, I guess I'm aware of that. Thank you. Alright, Gary, you got to make a video titled Double Speak of Physics. Yeah, well, whatever. But I have no help for you, buddy. Just too much lead, I guess. They failed to detect gravity waves with the battery of new instruments and related experiments that were deployed in the last 10 to 15 years. Well, I don't know if it's that long ago. Yeah, I don't keep up with everyday physics, but it does seem like they're saying that now their instruments are 100,000 times better than they were, because they have new algorithms to make them more sensitive. It does surprise me that two places in America spent all of that money to make these stupid gravitometers. You know, they're really big things and, you know, expensive, and you're just like, man, I'm surprised they spent that much money on something that's not going to tell you anything. I mean, they think it's going to tell them something. The idea that we could sense the gravitational changes based on two stars spinning around each other, that tells you absolutely nothing. I mean, it really tells you detecting a gravitational wave would say absolutely nothing. It's like seeing a neutron star. What does it tell you? Does it tell you something? It doesn't tell you shit. If you already knew neutron stars were, you know, two stars orbiting, you know, let's say a red giant and a bright dwarf or something were spinning around each other, you know, and that's why it's blinking. And so let's say you knew exactly what it was, and then let's see, how to say this. I mean, it's like seeing something, as I say, you see it in the radio spectrum, or in the lights, you see it with photons, and then you look at it with your radio telescope and you see, oh, it's almost exactly alike. Does that tell you something? Oh, it's producing radio waves and light. Ooh. I don't think it's saying much. Well, anyway, it just seems like but they've turned gravity, detecting gravity waves somehow means that they've detected the force of gravity being intensified, like these things are producing gravity. And obviously you don't produce gravity, you cause gravity. Gravity is a negative force. Gravity is revealed when you have blocked force. That's what reveals gravity. So gravity is only a demonstration of an absence of force. So, you know, like, again, completely got it backwards. And so they think they're going to be they're going to be demonstrating the production of force when they're actually going to be demonstrating the absence of force, which is a meaningless demonstration. Anyway, a premature announcement confirming the existence of gravity waves was made in 2014 in light of the observation made with the BICEP 2 and the KK array, which was later retracted after being peer reviewed. Yeah, so they heard a truck going down the road. One of the most ruinous critiques of the data revealed that the pattern observed in the cosmic microwave background is almost certainly the byproduct of dust clouds floating in our own galaxy. It does get a little complicated, which have actually been corrupting the measurements of the cosmic microwave background for 30 years. Any frequency of quanta in the field can end up going into an area. What do you call that? What do you call a section of the field? Oh shit! I had the word for it the other day. I just can't think. I can't think of a word to use for the local neighborhood. Well, anyway. Although the whole field is connected, the fields are moving through fields. Levels of agitation. So, waves are hitting waves, or hitting waves, or hitting waves, so to speak. From the different things that have activity. So local noise will definitely be a problem to receive some unlocal noise. And the unlocal noise can go into a local area and be bounced around inside of the local area, and then you will misperceive it as a local noise, and it's really an external noise, that kind of thing. It's kind of annoying that you spent, background, yeah. It's kind of annoying that you spent the whole response video on the most vacant and inconsequential comments that anyone posted. Well, again, I explained why I did that. I don't know whether it's inconsequential. I mean, the accusation that I have been debunked, or I have this, they're not inconsequential. You have to, that's the whole problem with, sometimes your comments, is they demand that you make clarifications, or that they demand you make a counter argument, or they demand that, so they always put you on the defensive, and, I don't know whether that's exactly fair, and I guess I wouldn't mind it if you people were absolutely correct, all the time, or more often. Let's just say more often. All right, number again. Yes, you describe the net force of an object. You must take into account both the spin, angular momentum, and its velocity, linear momentum. Like I said, well, the spin is really interesting, and the more I think about it, just because, like I said, it's another one of these battery ideas. That spin is a battery, a way of storing energy, and that it can it can absorb force by doing the negative thing of reducing spin. So, a positive force can be eaten by the spin slowing down, and vice versa, where you can add more, so you can just, it's a way of hiding force, in the sense that it gets lost in the spin, and you don't know where it came from. So it's like the orbit idea. Something goes into an orbit, and it really doesn't matter where you throw it back out. It's inconsequential when you release it or where you release it. Directionality becomes almost irrelevant. So it's a real force neutralizer, and I guess that's why it works for photons. But anyway, these two kinds of momentum are independently quantifiable in a given object. Right. Well, like I said, I don't know about you can quantify spin as anything but a collection of any directionality. So that's the neat thing about it. Like I said, the spin isn't backtrackable to the source of the spin. The spin doesn't tell you what direction of interaction, force this way and force this way, create the spin, and you won't know which there's no signature to the entry point. Like a drill, which requires the application of forward motion from the operator. Well, I'm saying there is the only indication is left in the field. the field will be minus whatever initiates the spin. But that's the catch. It's a little complicated because the other side is going to put it back, so to speak. So it's like stealing, and it's like shoplifting and then putting everything back. You know, it's technically, yes, you shoplifted, but technically you didn't because you put everything back. Like a drill, which requires the application of forward motion from the operator to do its job while it applies rotational motion. The input quantities of these two kinds of motion can be neatly separated and then go into a demonstrate a perfect exchangeability when they are recombined to perform the drilling of a hole. Well, anyway, obviously there are two forces, so that can be separated out. Technically, I don't know if the operator has to do anything in some circumstances because the spin is being eaten by the friction and it'll drill itself into the drill. The driller doesn't have to drill it. The drill will pull itself in by screwing itself in. So technically, I don't know if that's true, but clearly it's still a conversion. You're still converting the spin into the forward motion, so you're just creating the same forward motion is being created. It's just being created out of the energy of the spin. So it's slowing the spin down to create the forward motion where you can apply the motion and then the spin can be maintained. So the conservation idea is in here. I'm just saying the spin, I don't want to mix the two. I don't want to mix velocity, forward and backward velocity with spin rotation, because I'm saying that forward and backward are completely different in terms of they're not as obviously, they don't have the same kind of obvious battery nature. But they're obviously batteries in a sense. If you have velocity, you've gained, you know, field energy, and you're carrying that field energy, and you can give it to something else. If you hit it, you stop moving, it starts moving, so you gave it your field energy. That was my point about the moon spin. It has both, you're not going to do this again, are you? It has both zero angular momentum spin and zero linear momentum velocity, therefore it is spinning. The question is really one of quantity, the angular momentum, not quality, being the motion of the rest relative to the other celestial bodies. Well, again, it's not. It's the only relative condition that matters is, in my opinion, is the relative condition to the sun, and from the sun's perspective, it's not spinning. Newton proved this independent qualification of spinning motion with his famous bucket experiment. Oh, no, I said that wrong. Yes, the dark side of the moon is the sun does shine on the dark side of the moon. So the moon does spin rotationally to the sun, but it's only doing it as an incidental consequence of the main relationship, which is facing the Earth. And again, the argument was spin relative to the Earth, I think. Yeah, I think the main argument was that. Yes, it was. Newton proved the independent qualifiability of spin motion in his famous bucket experiment. In fact, this experiment actually substantially demonstrates that space is an absolute thing that is not relative. I think it's one of the simplest experiments that might be worthy of serious re-examine as a test of Newton and Einstein's conceptions of space. Yeah, I just don't know if the bucket experiment is... whenever you get into these centrifugal things, it gets a little bit tricky, I think. But yeah, I'll think about that. As you think about what air pressure is doing in terms of pushing the water into the bucket, and, you know, so it does get a little bit more complicated. But yeah, I'll go read the bucket experiment wiki page or whatever. Yeah, the bucket argument. Okay, so yeah, there's a whole bunch of shit there. But those things, it's like the airplane lift thing. You know, you can really get into a lot of complexity just trying to figure out exactly what is happening. But so I don't know if it does resolve anything, but it probably does show some weaknesses in thinking about things in terms of acceleration being a bend in anything. It wouldn't work, okay, it wouldn't work to see lenses with the sun. Let me illustrate. Paul. So, I mean, when you're going to when you're going to correct me or tell me something, I mean, really, you should really try to be right. And you're really trying to shouldn't do something really, really dumb. So he's saying it wouldn't work to see the lens with the sun. You don't see the lens. Lensing happens. Yes, you see in the lens. So you can't even write the sentence correctly. You're correcting me. So anyway, he posts this. I mean, it's a funny drawing. It's hilariously bad. Look, the point is this is what validated Einstein's theory. So you can't say you can't do something that they claimed they did, and it made Albert Einstein the most famous man in the world. So it's kind of silly to tell me you can't do it when they apparently did it to make Einstein the most famous man in history. You get it? I'm arguing that if Einstein was correct and worthy of being the most famous man in all of human history, that they should duplicate this effect now that they have a telescope capable of duplicating it anytime it wants to. All right. So he draws this thing. Okay, the thing hidden behind the sun. Here's the Earth. And here's he's saying is the focus. Oh, we missed the focus. Well, clearly the idea is the sun's lens moves through all kinds of sections of space, all kinds of sections. So there's 100,000 galaxies per sun of aperture. And so you've got a ton of choice of objects to be able to lens behind the sun. The sun moves across a ton of objects every day. And so you can just pick any object you want and lens it at any time you want that's at the right focal length. So there's a ton of stuff somewhere that's at the right, at sun position, at the Earth position here, or Earth position here, at any one of these Earth positions, or even at any one of these rotations of the Earth, you're going to be able to find an object that's in the right field. So it's silly to say there's no focus possibility. There's a ton of focusable possibilities. And again, we're talking about an experiment they already have done successfully. So to say the lens can't work would be idiotic because they say it did work. And and they did it because they put the moon in between the Earth and the sun to create an eclipse so they could block the sunlight out so they could look at something while the sun was out. Because that's the only time you can obviously use the sun as a lens is when the sun is available to be used as a lens. Obviously. And you have to have some way to block the sun out. But because we now have a telescope in space, we don't have to worry about the scattering of light in the atmosphere making it impossible to use a telescope during the day. So we can use a telescope with the sun in the field as long as we just block out the sun with a black circle. And it works just fine. So the point is that Hubble telescope should have already duplicated many lensing experiments using our own sun. It should be capable of that, in my opinion. But your drawing has nothing to do with any of this. It's silly. I mean, I wish one of the commenters would have just pointed out your drawing's silly and sucks and no, you don't understand what lensing is. You don't understand the history of the experiment, and you certainly don't understand that this is one of the key ingredients to validating the general theory of relativity. So this is really important, and you were too far off the subject for something so important. I mean, to not even acknowledge that the experiment was done, and it was done with the moon being used to block the sun. Come on. Anyway, Thomson was awarded the 60th Nobel Prize in Physics for the electron and the blah, 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 blah. The sun, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, okay, yes, it's all whatever. Nepotistic. Yes, the Nobel Prizes are a closed club in many respects. But my point is that's my whole point, is it doesn't really matter, because if I'm right, they can't not give it to me because I only did the most profoundly meaningful thing in physics ever. So, I mean, come on. I took on their strongest and biggest challenges. Explain inertia, explain gravity, unify all the forces. I mean, I did the whole thing. I did all of it. So, yeah, I obviously have to get one. Fuck. Obviously. I mean, if I'm right, there's no way to say, even if I died tomorrow, they'd have to give it to me posthumously. They'd have to, because it's just logical to say, oh, fuck, he really did do everything for us. I mean, he fixed all of the broken elements of physics. I mean, every fucking one of them he fixed. Shit. How can he not win? I mean, fuck. Alright, Liftigrift means main science in German. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. I got the impression of what the word meant, didn't I? So I interpreted the word correctly, and I pointed out how I think physics is really the only science, technically. You know, it's all everything is the mechanics of the bits. Every thought I have is fucking being regulated by field equations. I mean, it's all just quanta bouncing around, so it's all physics in a sense. Every fucking delusional perception in my brain of consciousness even is all just being created by quantum bits being pushed by closed fields. Okay. Fields of quanta. Streams of filtered quanta. Something like that. So anyway, I think I'm done, right? So what else do I want to get to? So I got to that other thing. I didn't get to the bucket thing. There are some, I think I'm going to probably have to do another physics girl video. She says some stuff that's just plain fucking wacky. Alright, not the universe flat one. I thought there was another. What the hell is it? No, I lost the link, so that's good. I won't have to do it then. Excellent. I'm spared the burden. Let's see, I'm not seeing it. Einstein, ScienceNet, blah blah. Oh, that Krauss guy. I really hate that fucker. Yeah, I mean, the more I hear him, it's just so fucking obnoxious. But, you know, I learned to hate them all. Everyone. Unfortunately. All so full of shit. Star Wars did suck. That's the damn truth. I didn't see it, but yeah. Conceptually it sucks. So, yeah, it's got to be a bad movie just because conceptually it's shit. Huh, yeah, I just don't know where the... I thought I saw another physics girl video that was just really, 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 really stupid. Come on. I saw it. It's got to be on one of these pages somewhere. There's a link or something, right? Yeah. So, must be. Must be. I don't see it anywhere though, so I guess I'm out of luck. Anyway, I guess I could just go to her channel page and look for stupid video titles. Yeah, I thought she just did a lot of videos where she, you know, shows how to make popcorn or something the physicist way or whatever. You know, a little trite, she's silly shit, but yeah, I mean, you know, she's just defending the hierarchy of bullshit. Okay, so that's enough. Oh yeah, that guy's trapezoidy thing. I might as well do that. Let's get rid of this thing while I'm here. Yeah, there it is. Alright, so he's got the giant magnet guy. You know, the whatever ferrocell thing. So, let's see if this stupid bullshitty piece of shitty, let me see a good image of his ferrocell. Okay. Squeaky squeak.
Black void, just like a black hole, so to say.
There's the magnet thingy. So this ferrocell, so technically I just thought, you know, I don't think he's being, I mean, he's thinking this is a real image of what the light is doing and all that. It's just kind of bullshit. This is a thin layer of, you know, ferrous liquid inside of two pieces of glass, presumably. And I don't know whether that is lens glass, and that's the problem here. But I think, obviously, I guess what what's happening is there's a distortion in the pressure of this fluid, and that distortion is what's bending these lines. So this would actually be a clear image, and so the whole holographic effect is really just being created by, you know, the depth of the image. It's an illusion of distortion, not because it's projecting an uneven and incorrect image. So everything is being warped and bent. So this really would be a circle here. You know, these turn into ovals, you know, for the two ends of the magnet, and these are the lines in between. And these would be straight if this uneven pressure wasn't distorting the fluid. And so this is an effect. And again, I'm arguing that the fluid is, this is again demonstrating that the fluid is the dark, I mean the light, because the light has to be hitting something, right? So where you have the light is where the fluid is migrating, and where it's dark is where the fluid isn't. The ferrous material is what's lighting up here. So again, those are, you know, that these are just the field lines, and that these hooks on the end. So when he has the thing where they're all spiraling around, that spiral isn't reflective of the reality. It's being manufactured by the device. See, we have a good, somewhere, there's a better image. So yeah, you're getting this, you know, see, these lines look like they have 3 dimensions to it, but it's a one-dimensional liquid. So you're bending really what is a detection of lines of force that are going, that are vertical to this material, and they're just all being hooked, and the hooking is what's making it look like something else. So anyway, it's distortions. But you know, I'm not the one to describe exactly. You know, see, the tilting of it also changes its angle to the field. So that's another trick that makes it deceptive. So what you really have to do is take a slow motion photograph of you know, when you turn the cell or when you turn the magnet, do it in slow motion and see exactly what changes and how it changes. But I don't know if you can ever undo the distortion being created by the, you know, pressure, unevenness of the fluid. Yeah, so that's probably enough of an explanation. Yeah, I'm just saying that you know, you just know that it's a flat thing. It can't be seeing depth. It can't detect field 2 inches away and then bring that into the flat fluid. The flat fluid can only tell what the field is doing in that layer of reality, and in that transection. It can't see the whole thing unless it was an MRI machine and took a whole bunch of separate pieces. Well, then you could put them together and say which way is it bending. But you can't do it with a flat film. So it's, you know, it's obviously can't be seeing what's being revealed. The image is indicating it can't be seeing, quite obviously. Even if what he says existed, you couldn't measure it with a flat film. Yeah, that's the way to say it. And clearly it doesn't show anything called movement or motion. You know, from his theory, the energy of magnetism has to be coming from the magnet's movement, the movement of something. And there's no movement. The force is the external force again. Just like with gravity, magnetism is a reflection of converting the external force into something. The energy for magnetism, like the energy from gravity, is coming from the external universe, and it's only through conversion, creation of imbalance, that we see it. Yeah. It's like the intrinsic imbalance of 2 things and the pressure field. I mean, you can just figure out how that is going to be obnoxious to the field, so to speak. So anyway, yeah, enough said. So I think that's good enough. So until the next time. Yeah, unfortunately this person won't have a conversation. I mean, he must have me blocked because I can't comment on his videos. So, you know, petty fuck. Anyway, till next time.